Honorable Akwabe Kosi saying Sunni. Nyamia dom who ya papa na also
Nyamia dom
yeah da nyamia say enti for some time now I'm who say conversation occurs on social media, especially on X with the cyber security amendment bill any a war in the process, of becoming law minimum at what stage as you see a war. But already conversation has started in earnest. It was social media. I saw a video of you so online, and as we raise issues be about some portions of that bill. Assembly party me pacho.
Obi me that's my mintia with for 18 enumerate. I'm central for big Kasa over the weekend. They call Parliament workshop. Nana many central for big Kasa. So we'll be about this cyber security authority amendment bill. Any misinformation and disinformation, hate speech and publication of other information bill. But I'm point down we and I am ramming and a buying person deba.
Oh, okay.
2 different pieces of legislation. Misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, and publication of other information bill. And about cyber security authority amendment bill. Now, kind of na bumwa. Le fapem ne say buying a person who create divisions be cyber security authority side divisions and say ebequetia cyber crime, cyber bullying, then in Kekahomia there. Any misinformation, any disinformation. Now, baby, a year worrying me can't want some central for one say. Essentially, they are buying no amount to criminalizing speech. Say ubika bibi na say abino esuso say they are wakano abino bunye swa the pakrono obetumi akode fiase up to 10 years. In fact, what kind cyber security authority amendment bill na or more process na or say who publish false information and also who post false information our social media platforms so input chat groups to say WhatsApp group more multimedia because see same program more WhatsApp group be a more discussions so WhatsApp group no so who could post BB false wom and I could post BB false our social media which you had the fear up to 10 years. And some other misinformation and disinformation, hate speech and publication of other information bill now. So we a media organization, our license for our buying budget for yourself. It was a suspension or revocation of license can be. Apart from that, criminal penalty. You know, a very dangerous area in a buying economy because democracy be a year and also be the freedom of the children. You can't see no boy here. You have to be a trash you were civil remedies, administrative penalties cry to me issue. Now so Obeka will be called there because they are working a buying not to say a fault and our minister not to say a false in it there. And yes, I did me say Sabria a democracy by anymore. Your person rather the be quite man for extra margins of more. My idea be a in say countenance. You know, how many central for the can once and say, yeah, I think it's buying or your consultation. You could by the time I'll be your consultation. Now, with tea and come at tea, one more money made you money so I put to say, media. It is Kungana democracy.
But one issue so a man for complaining about Bebre, and I think the president even in his media encounter had cause to raise that point. The issue around IP address, and monitoring of commentary on social media, it seems to be something it drew worrying proportions. Nipa Bebre na if we are calling for that growing subculture to be dealt with through some of these laws, no?
Uba Edwinsogu Nanswa, ya pepa yita nine entry. Ne sa infractions we fear here. One way in your back of seminal, Mammy Formun call 1991. Tama na Constituent Assembly no Ghana Constitution with Ukraine. There was a big debate about the right to free expression. Now, one man not push the right to free expression say the Constitution. They were confronted with a question say what these are media freedoms we need right to free expression by deregulating media space. Let me add in our bar. There could be ugly noises, meaning that expression now ugly noises. And Pennyphone today must say we prefer an open culture with ugly noises to a culture of silence. In fact, so Professor Albert Dubois lecture notes, any lectures on mine on the culture of silence are. Some way a deary and untino. And she say, Ghana, you know, say, as much as is possible, Lydia, you no be answering nothing. Nemum say, a do baby na say, it can be dear, emfa emra kwanswa. You be use civil remedies. You call constitutional error, NDC, Abaya, and as a PNDC, NDC, no. Oman to me Emrana na Kanina and Tubeka President Kufo Baby President in 2001. Emrano na Bakwaka a criminal and seditious libel. Into President Kufo by no be free. Another one nan komoko supane Right Information Act. President Rawlings time and as uncommon start here, but also pay. To most President Kufuor Addo no so be pass right information cry say afi kwa yen kwa enim na information a won saka na ho anko hia say wakoka bibia obi beka say one meeting inform public no but ye ba ben mu no we were confronted with the same situation anko for can some do what we say ntro e go how to know say they are all can enye say nko di ntro na we twachia nti ye de nyama hodo ba ukai media capacity enhancement program. Yes, it's a drop for a big tribute to misinformation. No, the way out, and say, and yes, I inform you to 10 years. The way out, and say, yeah, more training now with Jumano so into your Kumasi media capacity enhancement program. Two for say to so the body dear, number boom one, or not them Ghana Central Phone, already and him say, yeah, some media capacity enhancement program. Young cafe, young form to there was need for a lot of public sensitization about misinformation, misinformation, public campaigns, even National Media Commission and the National Communication Authority, or be a joint monitoring center. So we will be here with TV, so and radio, so our mom so ten and commit to one more. And then you be fact checking. Fact checking could be no Dubawa money at the end and he said, Ubi town who be the no cry, who to me is subjected to fact checking near when you cry a war. Yekoye ISD Media Center say, what a fact be about a buying assembly of fact no I say. Into there are several ways I would deal with it, not so because any pan yam fan up to 10 years. It is because and nena and conford intro. And now be a can someone same fata no be a boo be an imtia. The patron yen many fears here. As far back as 1991, and as uncle with fears here. Now, mind your dick to say, you pursue be a yan far would you name mum, Senipacono, or fum, a car. Actually, one, yet the civil remedies ene solve betumi de na court maybe a court aboneka na say dey aban ka wa beto no nsa say onko defiase up to 10 years and now so your radio station ya engine license in nsem de ebema ya democracy ne fa ho de obi ade tre na adwen no me nkofo kire o madwen a me ne o munya adwen ebi kaseti am ebi di matem. You can disagree with what they are saying, but you should agree with their right to free expression.
But one other thing, and it's this law, the substantive law, no, and as the mother law, 2020 law, and government is seeking to amend some portions in 2025. From your readings, no, a day in the war main law 2020 law ne ho a aban pese okio with this amendment.
Media mean if the aban na was obetrim the parent legislation ni mu a in consonance with the object of the parent legislation or person or the amendment to which is ebekio media we share Cyber Security Authority Act now. And can you imagine to say cyberbullying?
Yes.
Apart from cyberbullying, stalking, hate speech, and kwala protections, senka hono mo de kode anka problem in ho. And admittedly, a whole war current your friend say amendment bill no emu. But the other ones are come one and no they are infringing on the right to free expression. And no if I hear say section 67 of clause 67 of because they say a bill clause 67 of amendment bill now. Also publishing false information now posting false information. I will say we to make them for up to 10 years. I know it's not about cyberbullying or I know the suppression of dissent. Suppression of free expression. Nti sa nneema no ene wo se aban no e ma nani kon say we cannot countenance anything there. E dey back to Preventive Detention Act. Any criminal and seditious libel deeds. Yeni anu mo ATM ni mo kai PD, Kwame Nkrumah time PD. E dey also pepper ni bi money education. Am I? Almost maybe by say in the interest of the security of the state, you know. Say which is prejudicial to the security of the state. When securities are more forcefully defined, you bet to me, Edwaka Kotum, court to crown point to me in your habeas corpus me. Would them say, and you know, conform them under PD woo ye, that was gonna say.
Yes.
They say, okay, that the only person who expanded the definition of security you could do in this new act now. Any PD and I pay. Any PD and I pay. Criminal and seditious libel, it sought to criminalize speech that was even untoward. President Kufoma Yeyifiwa. And section 67 of the Amendment Act, which you know, is going back to criminal and seditious libel, where it's seeking to criminalize speech. Be that as it may, says our speech here even untoward. In fact, rather no, and come on, ne question is a maraka the way books so still a criminalized speech, you know. I will say you free. One of those running a publication of false news with the intent to cause fear and panic. Into Behuna and Nancy will be TV so now anything Abronia near actually the uncle for good inside not the Black Maria Moa for hardened criminals. Are there can't send you online now? And abide ye china kotuma manreman onkwalabi TikTok onkwalabi omakoka bibi online ade omka ni nyu ensem fata nye obi ankasa ye fata benu tine de omakoto afiase for 14 days. So speech is being criminalized the more in Ghana now, and Chesamra will participate kum obi my example okay time multimedia and MPP abanya problem say my document to be a friend of militia in the heart of the city.
Yes.
Now say my documentary, you know, Sebi, and you know, yeah, the Moko National Media Commission, my National Media Commission, Bua say, I'm fuck paso. Wouldn't say I'm the new we say, enka saa time no senka na we are na ban we person no wa you bet me ademo license. Is that the kind of power we want to give any government in a democracy? Maybe I no say you call NMC rule and okay say more correction going forward. No. And no to make us a one correction. There have been several instances that media houses, NMC rule or because say all correction. But baby, I'm going to your license crown. You bet to me, Aji, Obi,
yeah.
So if you say fan one, Ochna, ye babe chua kotum say what will be or Presby Church WhatsApp platform and no credit. On our bill say, the year will be now one country and let also.
I've been going through the bill, and
which of them, by the way?
The Cybersecurity Authority Amendment Bill. Yeah. Yes. Now, Osei, and I'm just taking a casual look. One thing, me who we are, a tickle me fancy kakra the bit about the powers of police, which is Section 20B inserted into the principal enactment is amended by the insertion after Section 20 of Powers of Police 20B1. The Director General, Deputy Director General, and other authorized officers shall exercise the powers of a police officer, including the powers of arrest, search and seizure, and have the same rights, protections, immunities conferred on a police officer in the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 1960, the Police Service Act, and any other law related to a police officer in the performance of their functions under the Act. Essentially, the Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority, only two deputies, and there's one deputy cry, they can exercise the powers of a police officer. Giving that much power to a bureaucrat, that's really a major issue that should be looked at.
Additionally, we call clause 31, clause 9, which seeks to amend section 31 of the Act.
Yes.
Funding crowd almost so they are this new authority, cyber security police agency unprecedented.
Yeah, the sources of monies for the fund include seed money approved by Parliament. B, monies which may become lawfully payable by the authority for the fund. C, 50% of all fines arising from criminal penalties under the Act. D, grants, gifts, donations, and other voluntary contributions. E, 12% of the communication service tax for the fund per annum. 12% of CST. 9% corporate tax for the fund per annum. A charge determined by the authority in accordance with the Fees and Charges Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2018 and levied on persons licensed by the Bank of Ghana to carry on business. A proportion of the fees charged on all government electronic services.
The kind of money they matter new cyber security police agents we are on person create. No more we are no more on power say who will be way. So more so say the phone crowd no information be was what child information no in violation of Embra we are. More the powers of search and seizure.
Yes.
I'm going to have laptop or computer or more reason to believe say information be also a contravention of the Act. It's very, very careful because who criticize the way you know at the Coco share Cyber Security Authority, I share Minister of Communication here at St. George Asia. But this
in form and substance is worse than criminal libel.
Me say call back to PDA, extra criminal libel, a preventive detention act. Because what is essentially going to happen is now authority work in the powers of police. Police say also and now reasonable suspicion say crime or cause to me search and seizure that. We see what's a man search and seizure, what's a man all of these resources. We are at the end of work creating yet to come and be a control people WhatsApp platform nearby the Sonic Council womb. At the end of watch. I mean look at the definitions or the attempts to define what security is. In the way, I would say very careful.
Yeah. It's something that should be looked at. Continues in common way subsequently. But the other thing so we raised here was calling on a buying say policy document underpinning the flagship programs in Yinano on Famra Parliament. Why this call, Honorable?
Obi Parliament here, Juma Bako here, their friend oversight. Inti abandi kamba Parliament here, or person call here programs be. Now I say money sika, non fen konkoye. If you say abaya beji hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis, ama ministers are hobo say Obi nkoye feed Ghana. Me wo fire kupoko nkoye feed Ghana. Me Mami Jare, Uncle Denny 24-hour economy. Minian Sam George, Uncle 1 million codes program. Minister for Employment, Omunkoye Bidium Freno, a Jumarua program. Minister for Youth, Madam for Paris, Omunkoye National Apprenticeship Program. Hundreds of millions of Ghana Parliament the amount. Now, program documenter and not spell out the scope of the program. Say, if your program we are targeting per 1,000. Yepe etiatia for na tintin for yepe bia age see yepe qualification see na program no cry fawa u training ni 2 months and 3 months ube wie no say na wo say unya say e wo say hu say program no so aba the friend no key performance indicators enoni ansa na results framework at the end of the program enoni sa program document no programs by 11 or 12 now by launching in but Parliament. If I go back 24-hour economy, the Omko Mr. Speaker Amane and Speaker Kat or Muria or Munfa Kopimra. Obi me bisa or Parliament first meeting, second meeting. Ye ba third meeting, so now you say him say abino din agenda na ba nka watro so say or the beba up to now ba kokra mai. Inti Parliament adwuma na oversight na yetua ye kase MPs inti yemfa eni ni echi no bo se wonni program document ni bi wonni bi no ebe den why oversight no inti ebe tete bi ni bi at the end of the year na minister na be catch and say at the end of crowd fa nipa no mane bro so kra inti wa achieve the target me wa target you be enu nti na ye koswa free aban ensa da ensa yem say Ghana for to aba maw se be ye ne mebi Ampa, what be this kind of Parliament? Hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis. Ampa, what launches our programs, no? So for program document, no bra Parliament. Now even Parliament, go here to me and say, yes, we have the new quack. Only say, he say, I have intercepted the document, they have intercepted the document, maybe another document in the crampon and your papa. But say, I buy every year, they say, fatano the program document, na bar. And your Parliament in Guam. Even NDC MP now or Parliament or no. Or no program, no better say no one who send you difference being your home for so. Obia, Yankopon Dum, Wako Suku, where do it to our king time. Centrally, who bet me for program documents, maybe now what kind. Namu Nara, when ye dear say, into feed program near call on Chi, Yana, ye hundreds of millions, some a great minister no. Akosi saying. Many are civil society groups. Almost umbenya document ni binan almost washim. Many who say, okay, I deal with say target me by this time you do have say. Abaning for abako by and ordinary program by and you who say and shame so the beba and sana Parliament sorry. Let us say 1 year in your program document be and no na ye koswa sra by so man penin foot here as friend na daroma. Omma program document na Parliament. na parliament in oversight function no ase.
But enya dia aban e follow mumu footsteps because I remember say under omu opposition na mumu aban mu no similar calls were made. I mean to the extent say at the time even the current vice president Ekra Kole for say free SHS policy document backing it no should be made public or my ya munye bi enkaye and monsomo launch quite a number of social intervention programs and the issue of policy document backing them no ya ante ho asem honorable
obi emi the pass we bisa asem we say mamen kan sem ye no fa ho edi kan so bi pass MPP aban am fire policies and your programs make programs and never a complete program with policies program document yamfa bia nko parliament enye no kre eda ye di 1D 1F buy no me na me second day alanche maintain na be here me na me say yes Ghana beyond 8 na me wo chamber hobby but no kre there were other ones yamfa nko the say free SHS yamfa nko obi woni say your programs yamfa program documents anko parliament no bebiri iwi akiri no ubon say problems wo ho in fact, say a time, that they no report on Nema you lose about it. We say one of the issues is free SHS assembly are okay. 81, yet the program documents may be core, but any nanny at the core. And on Tina, you know, this 4-year campaign, a 2 for say people for a kind of when teacher move for program documents. Na parliament into me if you minister no crowd we adwuma na ebe boa ma okra no when you better grasp of program now we implement no na wo de em fen kan sem unti MPP entie na NDC de e wini aba MPP lose aba NDC buy no so o menye the same thing ana say esa na democracy ni nsia di bia mfi mu nko ye ni mu enunti enamra ni ho a cheche won sa se febra but the year who will be paying, say who will be paying Tina, as well money baby and no in any attention.
Sure.
The year who will be paying even in the immediate past administration. You be fear them last minute, I feel I need to see a different SHS bill labor. Okay.
I remember. The Kaipa.
And to send this with the campaign. Now you know Cressa or say program documents in the bar. Why would anybody even seek to justify say the IA any be no more 1-1 draw? There be media me did say your democracy no see a be wom de koy ni me improve there was a documents ni na ba na oversight ni fear say be boa minister no krampo mo no ankasa so hu adwuma no
but in terms of oversight because for such documents no and I say such programs no na the parliament mostly interested in sika ye twama mo samo fanko implementing program we den na mo di sika na ye outcomes being na yehu any ade